when I heard what the topic tonight was going to be, for some reason all I kept thinking about was my own name. And then finally, I know, I love me. And then finally, you sent out the Facebook invite and you spelled my name wrong. Which of course I'm like, hey friends, come see the show where my name is spelled wrong. But it's Cortes with an S and not Cortes with a Z. And so I pointed that out and I made the joke, well, now I know what I'm going to talk about. But I'd already kind of decided to talk about this. And the thing is, my name is just a very simple name. My name is just Luis Cortes. L-U-I-S-C-O-R-T-E-S. It does not get any simpler. It's like the Mexican version of John Smith. Like everybody has the name Luis Cortes back home. Now, here, that's how I pronounce it. I pronounce it Luis Cortes. Now, if I were just like within my friends, they call me Luis. Back home in Mexico City, where I'm from, they call me David because that's my middle name. And actually, my entire name that I use here is just Luis Cortes. But back home, if I was in Mexico, my full name would be Luis David Cortes Guzman. Which doesn't sound great, it doesn't flow, so when I say it in my Mexican accent, it's Luis David Cortes Guzman. That's my name. And it flows. Oh, baby. Listen to that shit. That just flows so nicely. But what I don't understand is how people can get just this simple name wrong so many times. Now, I understand if you see it in just written down, Luis, I get it. The first pronunciation, everyone gets that part right. The Lu. It's like lupus. It's just Lu. That's just. But the last part, the I-S, it's just, I guess people see it like the word is, and just go, Louis. That's what they call me. Louis? And I'm just like, well, it's Luis. I don't mind correcting them because they just read it out loud. What makes me mad, and this has happened so many times, is when I say my own name, and then people still pronounce it wrong, as if to say, that little Mexican with his accent, he's saying his own name wrong. Because I go, hi, I'm Luis. Well, hey, Luis. It's like, I'm not saying it with my own Mexican accent because I like to hear it. It's Luis. This actually happened to me once. So, hey, how you doing? My name is Luis. No, that can't be right. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me because I wouldn't know how to pronounce my own name. She actually corrected me. I think it's Louis. And I go, okay, fine, call me Louis. I don't care. Sure, whatever you want, call me Louis. But the best part is, and this is where it gets a little awkward, because now you're taking the train into racist town. Because people will get my name wrong, but not because of pronunciation, just because they see brown and think, well, I'll just pick a name from the ether. And there's a guy that I work with, and unlike Debbie, I'll use names. His name is Matthew Kaufman. So if you ever meet a Matt Kaufman, he pronounces, not even pronounces my name wrong, he just called me the wrong name. Anytime I saw this guy, I worked at Universal Studios for 7 years as a tour guide there. And so anytime I saw this guy, I would go, hey, Mr. Gonzalez. And I'm just like, in my mind I'm thinking, because this guy is just like one of those guys that just knows so much just trivial information that I'm thinking, well, maybe it's a reference to something that I'm not getting. This goes on for like 4 years. And after a certain point, I start thinking, I don't think this is a reference. And so finally, during my last month there, I finally just work up the nerve. Because it's like, you know, someone that you've met for so many times and you still don't know their name, and now it's just too embarrassing to ask. It's like the reverse of that, where I'm like, it's kind of weird to correct him now, because it's been years. But you finally, hey, Mr. Gonzalez. And there's like, I finally just sit there and I go, I'm going to do it. And I go, Matt, let me ask you something. Why do you call me that? And then there's like a 5-second delay. And he goes, is that not your name? And I go, no, my last name is Cortes. And he just, if he wasn't already white, he would have been. And his color just leaves his face. And he just goes, I am so sorry. And I go, no, don't worry about it. It's a common mistake. And he goes, oh, I'm so sorry. And then every time I saw him after that, hey, Mr. Cortes, I'm like, ha, you're a little racist. And then on top of that, this also happened at Universal. Oh man, I'm glad I don't work there anymore. So I'm walking to work, I'm just, I'm on my phone texting someone, and then I happen to look up and I see that about 50 yards in front of me is my boss, whose name is Randall Roper, and he's walking with his assistant. And I go, okay, in about 30 seconds, I'm probably going to have to say hi to them. So I go back to finishing my text, and then, it's getting up to the point where I'm going to have to look up and say hi. And then out of the corner of my ear, I hear, hey, Carlos. And I look up and I go, hey, what's going on? And then we all stop, and the assistant goes, that's Luis. And then he looks at me and goes, why did I call you Carlos? To which I responded, I have a better question. Why did I answer to it? Like, people have called me by the wrong name so many times that I just hear, Carlos, yes? To be fair though, I am not like the most Mexican guy around. And today was a perfect example of that, and I'm so happy this happened today because I'm like, oh, I gotta tell this story. I went to this audition for a Wendy's commercial in Spanish. And it's just one of those, commercials where it's just like you come in and you go, hey, great, thanks. And so I walk in and the line is just, but in Spanish, which is even smaller because it's just a Y. E? That's the line. That's the line. Yeah. I went home and looked at my theater degree. Yeah, really expensive place to keep my desk collection. So I finally go. So I say the line. She's like, say the line twice and then we'll be good. So I go, E? E? And then she's like, okay, awesome, that was great. She's walking me out. She's like, oh, you did really well. To which I jokingly go, well, I used the Uta Hagen method. And she just, I don't know what that is. Anyway, oh, she's just a very famous acting teacher. And I go, to make it worse, I go, it's a really nerdy joke. And she goes, oh, I didn't get it. It was like I just said, you're an idiot. And she goes, but I didn't get it. And I go, so when's the callback? And she goes, oh, we're not sure yet. I go, great, we'll see you later. I step outside where they have that moment of, fuck. And then I just go, totally worth it. Thank you very much.